Okay, so happy Sunday, guys. Seriously, I love seeing your guys' faces on Sunday evenings. I know that this is like an extra commitment to your business, but it's always worth it. And I'm so excited about our guest speaker tonight. So excited. All right, I'm going to share. Okay. Maximize. Percent. Okay. So, all right, we're going to jump right into it. So like I said, happy Sunday. I'm just pumped. Okay, I need to keep going because I can't wait to hear Meagan speak. All right, so Success Club. You guys, look at all these names on the freaking board. And so many of you have already hit it. Okay, myself at the top with Success Club 14, Jen, Success Club 8, get it, Jen. Sherry, Success Club 7, Sheena, Success Club 6, Jennifer and Mary with Success Club 4, Kristen, Lindsay, Shar, Mariah, Susan, Liesel, Katie, and with Success Club 2, and Heath with Success Club 1. You guys, there's so much time. Like, you guys are all gonna freaking hit it. It's so early in the month and you've already changed at least one life. So that is amazing. All right, Sherry, I'll hand it to you if you want to shout your girls out.
Absolutely. So huge congrats to Sheena, who joined and hit Success Club in her very first month. Was just like, what do I have to do? What does it take? She had done the business before, guys. She had been probably a year ago with another coach and was like, I just didn't feel it. Like, I didn't really connect. I didn't know what I was doing. Like, I did some of the workouts, and then she joined and was like, no, what do I have to do to build this business? So if you love the workouts, that's one thing. If you love the community, that's an amazing thing. If you want to build the business, you got to get after it and you got to do certain things. And she was just like, tell me what to do. I'm going to go do it. There were a lot of business decisions. It wasn't just like, anyway, Sheena just said, what do I do? And she went and did it. Sheena, you're amazing. Like, just go after it. I know a lot of the girls on my team have done this. Guys on this team have done this. So amazing. Official success starter. Month 3, that means that she has hit Success Club 3 months out of her first 6 months as a coach. That earns her a free ticket to Coach Summit, which is normally in July, which is this week, coming up this week virtually, which is a really big deal. And then it also gets you access to other trainings in our network and some other gifts and prizes on my side. So that's really exciting. And then with that, we'll go to the next one because I think I have another one on there. So we have Mary. I don't know if she's on the call, but Mary hit Emerald again. Mary joined the team. It wasn't the right time for her. Mary actually left the team and then came back. And I tell that story just because I want some of you guys who are like, I don't know if this is for me, or some of you guys who are building a team to go, I had somebody who quit. And I'm like, a no is never a never no. It's just not for right now. No for right now. And, you know, when it's their right time, they'll come back. We have something extraordinary to offer. And Mary came back and was like, what do I do? And in 24 hours, she hit Emerald. She was like, I'm doing MBF. My husband's doing it. And my best friend's doing it. And we're all in. And she hit Emerald like that. So congratulations, Mary. I'm so proud of you.
I'm muted. 1 second before I introduce our guest speaker, because I also, 1 second, how do I stop presenting? I should know how to stop presenting, but I don't.
Just click stop share. There you go.
Oh, well, that's not exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to shout out my success starter. I forgot to flip and put her up there. And okay, here we go. All right, I'm gonna share my screen again so I can shout her out. Sorry, guys. Detour. Okay, here we go. Sharing screen again. Thank you for being patient with me. Okay, Amber Dishon. Okay, you guys, we have known each other for 7 years. We've been friends for 7 years. We worked together in the daycare, in the pre-K room, and we did not know each other before that. I moved downstate. She'd always lived there, and we have just stayed connected ever since. And one day she messaged me and she was like, okay, like it's time. I want to take care of myself. And I was like, sweet, like let's do this. Cause we had tried so many other things in the past. We did like Tone It Up together. We did Lauren Gleisberg together. Like we did all the things. So this was just another thing for us to come together and do. And then I think only 2 months in, she was like, okay, I believe in this. Like things are changing. I'm changing. Like I want to go all in. And she freaking did, you guys. And she changed at least 3 lives every single month. She hit Success Club, and now she gets her free ticket to Summit as well. And something else I am not allowed to talk about, but she will tell you very soon. I'm just so proud of her, and it's just the coolest feeling to have a really good friend just kick butt in this business with you. So, okay, stop sharing. And now I am going to her. I shouldn't have done that, you guys. I'm just going to introduce our speaker. I did have a pretty picture, but I know everything that's on there. So I want to introduce Meagan, you guys. She is on Jamie's team. Jamie is our mommy coach. For some of you, it's your grandma coach. I don't like calling her grandma, but you know. Meagan is such an amazing leader, and I came to her and I was like, you know, what's your passion? What are you good at? You guys, she is a full-time coach. She is a wife, a new mommy. She is a former teacher, and she is, I know she's a 2-star coach or 2-star diamond coach in her first business center, a 1-star in her second, and her husband is also a diamond coach, and she has hit Success Club 36 months in a row, correct? Which is freaking impressive, you guys. It's because she shows up and she works and she dives into her team and works on her community and just her culture. So she's going to kind of talk more about how she runs her group and communities within that and relationships. So I'm going to hand this over to you, girl.
Yay, I'm so excited to talk with you guys on literally my favorite topic ever. I think, you know, the business activity tracker is something that is 100% foolproof. Doing the vitals is 100% foolproof, right? But sometimes you can do all of the things and you're still missing something because you're lacking that, you know, what makes you different in the what we think of as the sea of Beachbody coaches. There really isn't one. It's just like in all of our minds because we're surrounded by them all the time. We're like, oh my God, everyone's a coach. No. You can go ask like 5 of your neighbors if they know a Beachbody coach, and they're probably like, no, I don't. Unless for some reason you've invited all of them and they're like on your team. But anyways, I want to share with you guys something that I started like from the get-go. So these are things that I started implementing right when I started coaching. So please do not think that all of these things, you know, just like magically appeared when I became a full-time coach or just happened, you know, when I hit a certain rank or things like that, because that's not the case. Yes, time is super crucial to everything that I'm going to share with you guys. But what's even more crucial is just starting. So I believe that these things are what has set me apart in the business of coaching. And I want to share with you guys how I did it. And I also want you guys to know that a lot of this came from the fact that I didn't enroll with Jamie. I actually enrolled with someone else, and literally like a month into coaching and restarting my fitness journey 3 years ago, I was in a boot camp and like my coach stopped posting check-ins and I was like, wait, what? Like, where am I supposed to drop my study selfie? And my coach just like fell off the face of the earth. And so this was another reason I started this, because I didn't have that community and that team culture from my like immediate upline. Of course, had it from Team Fight to Finish like 1,000 times over. But it was something, you know, where I really wanted that and I didn't have it. So it was even a bigger motivation for me. So sometimes those limiting beliefs that can hold us back in this business become the catalyst for something that can set you apart and completely blow up your business. So don't forget to lean into the hard things in the different seasons of your business, no matter where you are, because if you do, instead of taking a step back or you know, stopping or just shying away from the things that are holding you back instead of diving into them, it could really be something that you really miss out on. I don't know. I have to ask if I can share my screen. I think you have to make me host. At least that's what I've had to do with other people before. Okay. Let me try again. There we go. Sorry, I clicked it like 500 times. You guys probably hear how many times I clicked it. Okay, so I want to talk about creating community in your business, and I want to talk about how you can do it literally from day one. So creating that strong foundation from the start is so important on all different like levels. And the first one needs to be in your social media presence. How are you creating relationships with your followers? And I don't mean that like people that you're thinking about inviting or people that you flagged in your DMs or anything like that. But how are you creating relationships with your followers? Are you inviting them into your home every day? And I don't mean putting your workout stories up or putting your shake up or your nutrition up. Are you showing them who you are so that they feel like when they come to your stories and they come to your posts in your feed that they know you? And because they know you, they can trust you when you're inviting them, you know, to a coaching sneak peek or to a boot camp, that they already feel like they know you and they're like, okay, well, we've talked about X, Y, and Z, or maybe we've never talked before, but I feel like I have because I watch her stories every day and she's sharing all parts of her life, you know, that kind of thing. And then diving a layer deeper and thinking about how you speak in your DMs. Are you literally talking to your people in your DMs, inviting your conversations or connections like you would if they were sitting right next to you? If you have ever typed something out and then looked at it and been like, oh my God, I would never say that in real life, don't send it. Don't do it. Just because someone else says something or you heard it on a team call or you think that's the way you should say something, it doesn't mean that you should. I know that like for me, I personally, and this is not like a dig at anyone who does this, but I would never go up to one of my friends or someone that I was meeting and call them sis. Like that's just not something that I would do. And I know, I feel like it came from Rachel Hollis who like, you know, was great, but like I would never be like, hey sis, like that's just not something I would ever do. Right. So like I call people like friends. Like I used to be a kindergarten teacher. Like they were my friends. They weren't my students. Like it was like, hey friends. And so like when I'm talking to people, like I'll use that kind of lingo and that kind of stuff, you know, so that they do feel like I'm being genuine. So that relationship is starting from the get-go. And then, you know, going even further to it and how you're getting your clients and your coaches started right. Is it a way that feels natural to you? Is it something that you would want as a client? Is it something that you would want as a coach? Because I can tell you that in this season of life as a new mom, and a husband who works a lot and me who works a lot, I am running my new coach mentorships in a Facebook group because I know that if it was a chat pod, I would not be able to be on my phone all day and catch up with a message thread. That's just not what I'd be able to do. I'd probably read something while I was like, I don't know, doing tummy time with Nora and then forget about it 5 minutes later and totally miss an assignment. So like, you know, just thinking about things and how they can evolve, but also making it so that it's applicable to you and your niche. I know people say that word differently, and that's just how I say it. And so thinking about your niche. So like mine obviously has changed. I started coaching when I was in a relationship. It was long distance and then it was not. I was a teacher. I was working full time as a teacher. I was restarting my fitness journey. A year into it, I was engaged. I was planning a wedding. I now had a fiance. I was living with him. You know, I was, you know, full-time coaching. So I had like a shit ton of time on my hands. I didn't think about it like that until I became a mom. And I was like, what is time? Like what? And so things have changed. And so making sure that I'm bringing people along for that journey so that they can see how my life is changing. And I'm using that niche to my advantage because that is the easiest way to connect and build relationships with people before you get them into your community and your team, is by making sure that you can actually talk to them about things aside from health and fitness and coaching. I'm not saying that your whole team and all of your boot camps have to be like me, like a 28-year-old mom, like with the girl, like, you know, that kind of thing. Like I have college students in my boot camps because I talk a lot about how I started my journey in grad school. I have so many teachers still, even though I've been out of the classroom for 2 years. I have people who are single and who live by themselves, you know, that kind of thing. So just really making sure that you're creating that strong foundation from the start in your social media and in your conversations. And then moving on to a client community. So this is something that I started right when I kicked off coaching. I wanted a place that all of my clients could be added into. I helped 5 people my first month of coaching. 5 people, guys. One of them was my boyfriend, who's now my husband at the time. Okay. So a roadblock that I hear from a lot of people when they're wanting to start up this type of community is, well, I only have like so many clients, or I just started and I don't have a lot of boot campers. That's fine, because your vision is what is going to drive this group. My client community is, over, I think it's almost 300 people strong now. And there are people that come and go. There are people that don't get added, and that's fine. But this is a page where I add every single one of my clients, whether they've purchased a challenge pack or not. I require challenge packs for my boot camps. And this past year, I've, after listening to a national wake up call, started requiring like a monthly product for my boot camps. Everyone gets added into this community if I am listed as their coach. All of my personally sponsored coaches, not my whole team, but all of my personally sponsored coaches get added into this group as well. And what this group is it's a place where I've added in a lot of resources, like in the files. And guys, I've just taken things from Beachbody blog. I've taken things from Beachbody Facebook pages. I've not reinvented the wheel. I've not created 500 meal plans and put them in there. I've, created documents of personal development lists, of podcast lists that I've listened to and I've liked. I have the Miracle Morning link in there. I have an album where when I first started coaching, I would take like a really horrendous picture and upload it of the food, but I'd attach the recipe. And guys, some of like my OG recipes are my clients' favorite ones, but it's basically like a resource page when it first started out. And, when I had a smaller client base, I was, making sure that I was introducing every single client in there. And I still do that now, just like we introduce coaches. It just creates so much community. And it's even before they get into a boot camp. This is just being welcomed into the community. And it gives me also something to talk about on social media too. And how it makes me different. Like, you don't just get a boot camp, you get my community for life. This is also a place where I share so much about upcoming product launches and upcoming workout programs and things like that. I post the links to my bootcamp pages because I'm currently running them on Facebook. I shout people out. I gather Transformation Tuesdays. Like, I just have fun with it, and it's very organic. I don't follow a certain schedule or anything like that. And I just share a lot in there so that it's a place where people can come for information, but it's also a place where my girls feel comfortable asking, if they need extra accountability, or if someone wants to pair up and text each other to get up in the morning, or, they just welcome each other and cheer each other on when they say, oh, I finished a program, or I shouted them out for something. And then, of course, I have my monthly boot camps, and, we all have check-ins and we all do things like that. But I think something that has been really great for me is every test group that I run. So, the first one of a program like MDF coming up, I'll put all of my new girls into a message pod. And, in the past, I've done that with other boot camps too. So maybe there's some people who are just getting started for the first time, but I have like a couple other girls who have been my boot camper for 3 years. So I'll add the new girls into a chat thread too, so that they can have extra accountability, and it's more one-on-one or just more intimate than the boot camp setting can be, where everyone shares on a thread. Something else, that you can do is pairing people up as accountability partners, especially if you're just seeing maybe people are struggling a little bit, or maybe pairing them up as partners for like bingo or check-ins or things like that. And just having a lot of one-on-one interactions, not just liking a post or saying like, you go girl, but really taking the time to respond to people. And I'm not saying you got to be in there all day, because I'm certainly not in there all day, but just taking the time to have those one-on-one interactions inside of your boot camps is so important. And it will really take them to the next level. I think everyone has a boot camp with a check-in post and a graphic, and that is great, right? And you don't have to be extravagant, but these little things are something that you can start now that can truly take that community feeling to the next level. And then, guys, when people feel that, when you're having those really, really just strong client relationships that start in your DMs, like we talked about, and go to your boot camps, people are going to want to join your team, because they're going to realize that what they feel is just a tiny sliver of what coaching can do for their life, right? So when you're thinking about your team and when you're thinking about coaching in general, you have to think about having a super strong mission. So what do you want your why to be? Of course that can change, but you need to have a really strong why and really awesome goals that make you want to wake up in the morning and get to work. Motivation doesn't exist. And if it does, it's there for a fleeting second and it's really great. But the second anything changes in your life, and I feel like all of us can agree within the last few months, everything feels like it's constantly changing. Coaching can be the one thing that remains constant. And I'll tell you guys, I've been through a lot of really tough seasons of life, whether it was my last year of teaching, whether it was my pregnancy, which was really hard, being a new mom and then quarantine happening and just, all of these things that might not always be on the outside, but could have stopped me dead in my tracks. I had a strong enough why, and my why has changed, but it's pretty much remained the same in the broader sense of things, and having that really strong goal. Because if you do, you're going to start talking about it more and you're going to start, publicly sharing it. And, I didn't go around my last year of teaching say, oh, I'm going to go full time and quit my job. But I would just talk about it here and there in, a more indirect way. And people caught onto it. Once I went full time, I recruited some of my coaches who are still with me now as the leaders on my team. And I know that I did because I was publicly sharing that mission. And then, evolving into that vision of what I wanted to be as a leader, because, I became a diamond coach and then a star diamond coach, but that title doesn't mean anything if you are not leading a team, right? And I don't necessarily mean like, oh, you got this many emeralds and this many diamonds. It really means embodying everything about leadership. There are two things in coaching that I think are really hard. Everything else we just think is hard. One of them is going through qualifications. If you've never been through a qualification period, you've never been through anything hard in your business. And then, as far as being a leader, that takes everything to a whole new level. And I'm going to kind of dive into that a little bit more in a second. But really taking a step back and thinking about who you want your dream team to be, because your vibe is going to freaking attract your tribe. Like it literally is going to. What you put out there is the people that you're going to bring in. To the next point, character. When the world meets your coaches through social media, what's that going to look like? Are they going to look at their things and be like, oh my gosh, that girl is so aggressive and that is just like not someone I would ever vibe with? And then you're like, what? Like, how did this happen? Like, that's not what it, but maybe, you weren't necessarily putting out there what you wanted in a coach and putting out there, what you wanted in your dream team. The best way to do that is to become that yourself. And then, sometimes things just happen and that's fine, but just know that you want your dream team to be presented as your dream team, right? Not everyone's going to be the same cookie cutter mold, but you want to be able to look at your team through the eyes of other people and be like, I can totally tell why those girls are on the same team. I can totally tell why they're best friends, or I want to be best friends with them because I'm like that too, right? And so, diving more into that mentoring and relationships, I tell my girls, and I'm really close with quite a few of my coaches, if not all of them. And I tell them that I'm their mentor first and their friend second, because this is a freaking business. This is a business. And I learned this, from one of my success partners too. And she always helps me work through this because I'm such a 2 on the Enneagram and all I want to do is help people. And sometimes it can be thoroughly exhausting because I'm constantly putting other people before myself. And it's so important to make sure that you are mentoring your coaches and building relationships with them, but you're not giving them 99.9% of you, because that's not what this business is. This business is being able to mentor and to give your team the tools that they need, and create, that community feeling of they know they can post in your team page. They know that they can come to you with questions, but they also know that they can stand alone as a coach and that they can be really great at their job because you have given them the tools to do that and they have acted upon it. So some things that I have is like a Thinkific Mentorship Academy. Guys, I probably created this like 2 or 3 times, just updated a little bit. And it's something that's available to my entire downline, because maybe someone's like me and maybe their coach quit and they don't have a mentorship. Well, they have this available and it's self-paced and it's something that goes over the basics of coaching. We also have the back office. Those, first 5 steps are amazing as well. And also fostering that sense of like really, really incredible recognition, whether it comes in the form of leaderboards in your team page, shouting people out for, completing their first program as a coach. It can go from A to Z. Just remember that you are literally in charge of the culture that your team is going to have. And thinking about the things that you would want in your dream team and you would want as a coach from your mentor, do those things. Having getting started right calls for the entire downline, saving them in my team page so that everyone has access to them and that it truly is we are all in this together and we are all linking arms together. And my team page was something that I started from day one. So it didn't evolve to having all of these people on this leaderboard. It started with just me. And honestly, a year later, it was probably still just me, if not maybe me and like 2 other people, that kind of thing. It just evolved over time, but I didn't stop. I didn't ever ghost my team page. I didn't ever, never have team calls, or maybe I wasn't having team calls in the beginning of it. I was going live in there. There's still lives in there that are like 2 years old that people still go back and watch. So have fun with it. And just make sure that you are really putting out there what you would want to get as a coach yourself. So thinking about the teamwork makes the dream work, right? So looking inside of your team for a success partner. So many people can come to you, or maybe you're looking for a success partner yourself and you're trying to look outside of your team. Pair up with one of your coaches. Pair your coaches together. Pair their coaches together, that kind of thing. It doesn't need to be something where you're looking like outside in like our bigger team fight to finish organization, or even outside of that. Run things with your coaches. Have your coaches run things with you. Do those types of things, and sharing everything is so key. I still run my boot camps with my coaches. Why wouldn't I? I want to show them how to run successful groups. I want to get new, fresh ideas that I would never think of. And again, like just creating files and albums and documents in your team pages, just like we talked about with the community page, is so important. So like I've run different Instagram sneak peeks before. So I'll go and put up just like a raw like outline format of it in a file in my PS page, so that girls can go look at that if they've never run an Instagram sneak peek before, and they can go use it too. So sharing those resources, sharing those growth opportunities, leading push groups, leading push chats. Maybe they're book clubs when you first start out. Maybe it's just like a win the week thing and you're sharing your business activity tracker every day in a chat pod. Like I said, going live in your team pages and just having live chats. We have, our weekly team trainings and things like that, but maybe your coaches need to hear from you. So maybe that's just like a little live video for 5 minutes, or maybe that's you saying, oh, I'm going to be on Zoom from 7 to 8 at night, and I'm open to answer any questions that you guys have. Maybe open it up to your boot campers too, if you just have a few coaches right now, and say like, okay, well, if no one hops on, I'm just going to work, or I'm going to work out, and call them your office hours. Have fun with it. Making something, unique to you and your team is honestly fun. And then at the end of the day, the relationships that you build, in your boot camps, in your team, on your social media, it's up to you. You are entirely responsible for that culture, like I said. And if you have a vision for it, it's up to you to make it happen and to make it thrive. And it's not up to anyone else. It's not up to your coach who said they were going to hit Success Club and never did. It's not up to the girl who said she was going to sign up for your test group and never did. It's literally up to you. And there's going to be a lot of trial and error, but once you start getting a feel for what those relationships can be like, run with it, because then you're going to find your lifers on your team. Then you're going to find your lifers in your boot camps who are literally like mini coaches because they've been with you for so long. And that's just what I have for you guys. So if you have any questions, I'm open to hearing all of them or any of them. I love talking about community. I love talking about building relationships. And I think you guys kind of heard like all of the things that are in the business activity tracker melt into that, but it's just taking it to the next step. So you're setting yourself apart and you're becoming unique and you're becoming you, because someone at the end of the day is going to join your team or join your boot camps because they want to be friends with you, not your tracker, not anyone else. They want to be friends with you.
So good. Okay. I don't think I've seen any questions in the chat yet. I personally have a question. So if you guys have questions, please put them in the chat, or we're always really comfortable with just unmuting ourselves and asking too. So, so when you said that you still let your coaches run groups with you, so I think like with test groups and things, I let my team like still run things. But once they hit like a certain point, I'm like, okay, like, you know how to run one, so go off and run one. So I guess like, can you go into like a little bit more of like what you do exactly, or like what's been working best for you?
Yeah. So I would say for my first year of coaching, I let my coaches run boot camps with me all the time, right? I wasn't My first 6 months of coaching, I was not recruiting a ton. I sat at Emerald for 6 months because of my own limiting belief. And then, the 6 months after that, I rank advanced my business. So obviously, I was recruiting more coaches. So I just kind of was like, oh my God, I want you to run them with me, right? And I was running them with a success partner for my first 6 months. And I did have to tell her, like, hey, kind of what I told you guys, like, I want to run them with my team. I want to do things with my girls. Like, I think success partners are great, but like, I was at a point in my business where like I had recruited a couple business builders or, people who wanted to work the business. And I was like, I want to run it with them. And then after that, I used to do like, they would help me run like 3 boot camps. And, if they started to hit Success Club, I would start to kind of, have them, if they were in a mentorship with someone else, or, maybe I saw that they clicked really well with someone in the team page, I'd be like, you guys should pair up for next month and have your girls, get together. I think Success Club is a really big part of it. Because obviously, like, if you're not hitting Success Club, you're not getting new blood into your challenge groups every month. And so it can, make things just a little bit more like boring. So you might need to be running it with more people. And then as far as after that, I used to just do 1 month too. And so that's what's kind of been working well for me up until this point. And so, just having my coaches run a boot camp with me for a month, whether that was like, okay, say they signed up like right now, like I wouldn't just be like, oh, just run my monthly boot camp with me for the next like 10 days, 12 days, until, or however, 20 days until the month is over, I don't even know. And then be like, oh, go on your own. Like, no, and especially if they've never been in a boot camp before, maybe it's a month, maybe it's a month and a half, that kind of thing. Right. But just showing them the ropes. And then, sometimes if I feel like, maybe my girls have paired off and I'm like, oh my God, I'm alone. Like, I just posted in my page today with just my coaches. And I was like, does anyone want to run August with me? All you have to be is an active coach, so like just kind of going with the flow and just feeling it out. But also, helping them get their wings when they need to. If they have a couple clients, like that's all you need. That's all any of us started out with, was just a couple. I didn't have a coach that ran groups with me, and I did just fine. I don't think numbers matter. And I still run smaller groups too. I just did the 21-day fix real time, and I wanted to do a separate boot camp for it just because, like, I don't know, I just wanted to. And I think I had like 10 or 11 girls in there with me. Some of them were clients that were going to do it with me. Some of them were new, and it was amazing. It was great. It didn't have to be like this huge group or anything like that. So I hope that answers your question. And then I saw, do you do monthly boot camps with different themes? Yes. So for a while, I used to do a prep week for like the first week, and then I would always start my boot camp on the second Monday of every month. But then as I just, kind of came along more in my business, I started to have more obviously repeat clients, and like they didn't need prep week every single month. So what I did was I just would either have like, and I've done a bunch of different things. I've done like a getting started right guide that I would just send to new clients. I've done like a prep week group that I would add girls into, and then they would get added into the monthly boot camp. And then within the last, I would say probably 12 to 18 months, like year and a half, I've done monthly boot camps. They run from the first of the month until the end of the month, and there's never a gap in between, just because being a coach for 3 years now, I have people that have been with me for 3 years. I have people that have been with me for 2 years and 1 year. And that consistency is something that they need. I also asked my girls what they wanted. I asked them a lot. I had done Facebook groups, and then we switched to my challenge tracker. Then we switched back to Facebook, just because things weren't working out with us with bod groups. And I asked them, I was like, do you guys, are you liking Facebook? And so many of them said yes. So also just asking them what they need. And yeah, I do a new group every time right now on Facebook. And I did the same in the challenge tracker because of the fact that I have a monthly requirement to get into my boot camps. It's just a $60 or more requirement outside of their original challenge pack purchase. And that way I can just monitor. And sometimes people just don't want to be in a boot camp, and that's totally fine. So I give them that option too. Again, I just listen to what my girls need. And yeah, I change the theme every month. I actually use, I didn't until I I think it was November or December of last year, I was getting towards the end of my pregnancy and I was like, I know that I'm not going to have time to make graphics and things like that. So I started using the Mompreneur because I was like, there's no way I'm ever going to have time to do this. So I outsourced it and like, that was totally fine. So like, obviously her themes change every month, but I run, like I just said, I just did a 21-day one and I just like compiled little things here and there and found some cute things on Etsy, like put it right there. And it was great. It was fun.
Yes. And if you guys don't know what the mompreneur is, she runs her own separate business and she does challenge group guides. Challenge group guides, and she does like monthly newsletters and spirit weeks and weekly meal plans you get every single Thursday. It's like $22 a month, you guys, and I think it's worth way more than that.
She has given so much more, like, and I've not even been with her for a year. She yeah. And honestly, like, another thing too that's really nice is if you do run boot camps with other people, you can be like, oh, like, here, I have the Postmates. We can just all schedule them, you know? And then it's really easy. And then you can have more time to interact inside of your boot camps if that's something you can budget for at the moment. And if not, make it a goal to help a couple more people every single month and then budget for it.
Yes, 100%. Does anyone else have any questions, you guys? We have her here. Ask away. Okay, so what did you say again? So, because I saw that Jennifer asked if you did an ongoing group. So you said you make a new group every single month, or was that one group one that, I guess I'm confused.
So this is something that I just started this year. So I have my community page that's like separate from my boot camps, right? And then I have something called my virtual gym. And that is something that I started and I called it like my 2020 virtual gym. That's where I upload my meal plans. I post like a lock-in post. So like, hey, if you want to join next month's boot camp, make sure you have your order in by this date and drop your screenshot below, right? And that's like an ongoing group in the sense of like, that's where my girls who are really investing in their journey get more. Like they're getting those meal plans, they're getting the monthly calendars, they're getting all of the things that like are just, you know, crazy that Mompreneur gives, and also just like live videos from me. I do more giveaways in there, that kind of thing. But then I do create a separate Facebook group every single month. I have been since bod groups came out. I create a new Facebook group every single month that starts on the 1st and ends on the 30th or 31st.
Gotcha.
You know, it seems like a lot, but like it just like kind of needed to happen.
No, I agree.
It's kind of, you just got to grow with your business.
Mm-hmm. No, it took me a long time to do that too. And that was something Jamie pushed, and she was like, you're valuable. Like, this is your job. You're giving value.
Yes.
And so to take that step of having like a continuous group, but then creating that separate group with extra value for people to invest in themselves, and then you invest more in them, it's a little nerve wracking, but you guys would be surprised at how many girls are like, that sounds amazing. Like, I want to keep getting those meal plans and like you said, the extra giveaways and all those things.
And at the end of the day, those were the girls that were already showing up in my boot camps and already kicking butt. And all it did was kind of weed out the people who never participated anyways, or who only said negative things, which doesn't happen. It's few and far between, but it really brought a closer, more like intimate sense to my boot camps. And my girls know each other so much more now because they're all working so hard, you know? Honestly, I started it at the beginning of the new year, because I was like, okay, that's easy. Like just start a clean slate in January. So starting after Thanksgiving, I was just like posting and going live in my community page about it. And like sending out emails and stuff. So they like knew it was going to happen. And I didn't get any negative feedback from it at all whatsoever, because it's that type of culture that I had already instilled in my community. And something I had learned the hard way: don't recruit everyone as a boot camper and don't recruit everyone as a coach. If you're kind of feeling weird about the conversation or you feel like it's just not meshing well, like just don't do it. They're not meant to be with you. And I've had a few people like that in the last 3 years. And looking back, I'm like, I never should have drug out that conversation, or I never should have followed up with them because they just weren't my person. And so it was something where I was like, I don't really know. And another one of my leaders like did it at the same time. So we kind of just like ran things by each other too. But I heard it on a national wake up call, and I'm like, I think it was Natasha Pearson. I was like, if she's this successful and she's doing this, then like, why am I not doing this? Kind of thing. So, and it makes people try, and it's $60 or more, right? It helps you keep your discount coaches active. It makes people try new things every month. More girls are trying beach bars. More girls are trying collagen, hydrate, ordering new programs, that kind of stuff. It's fostered them continuing on in all sorts of ways, not just our basic way.
Yes, I love when someone's like, oh yeah, I tried beach bars. They're amazing. It's fun to have them try new things. Yeah. Okay, if anyone, do you guys have any more questions? If not, we're probably going to wrap it up. So speak now.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yes, thank you so much. That was so good. I took some things away from this. I know all of these guys did as well. And just thank you for your time on Sunday evening. We really, really appreciate it. So thank you so much. And thank you guys for showing up and just being here, learning, and yeah, love seeing all of your faces.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, have a great Monday, you guys. Bye.